No score halfway through the first quarter. Here comes a blitz, and Roethlisberger is wrapped up and taken down. Turk Wharton came free in the A-gap.
That was part of another strong season for defensive tackle Tershawn Wharton in 2021. The Chiefs grabbed him as an undrafted free agent out of Missouri S&T just a couple years ago, and he's really grown into a nice rotational defensive tackle on this team. Now looking at next season, could the Chiefs add to their defensive front in the 2022 draft? For more on that topic, we're checking in today with Dane Brugler from The Athletic, one of the very best in the business. And Dane, let's say the Chiefs want to go defensive tackle at pick number 30. Who are some names to know?
I think there are two defensive tackles who immediately stand out there as possibilities at number 30, and they're both very talented, and they're both very different in what they offer. I think first up, Georgia's Devontae Wyatt. I think he's the top 3 technique in this draft. 6'3", 304 pounds, ran the fastest 40-yard dash among all defensive tackles at the Combine with a 4.77, jumped 29 inches. And you see those athletic traits on tape. It allows him to win in different ways. He's got that initial quickness. He can leverage gaps. He's got the lateral range. He can chase down plays. And I think it's easy to overlook him because in that Georgia defense, it's just loaded with talent, especially next to Jordan Davis. But we're talking about a guy who he might be the third Georgia defensive lineman drafted. But again, he can be disruptive as a pass rusher, as a run defender. And so, we can't overlook Devontae Wyatt. The second guy I wanted to talk about, UConn's Travis Jones. Like I said, Jordan Davis, he draws all the attention at the defensive tackle position, and he did so at the Combine. And deservedly so. But Jones, I tell you what, if not for Davis, we'd be talking a lot more about Jones and what he did at the Combine and what he did at the Senior Bowl. I think he showed why he's a top 50 pick. He showed why he should be considered as a late first-round pick. 6'4", 325 pounds, long arms. He's that big-bodied athlete. He's got quickness. He's got natural power through his hips. He can get upfield. You want to see him unlock some of those secondary moves, but he creates problems for blockers with that athletic movements, the explosive upper body. He can control the point of attack. Just a really disruptive, every down nose tackle, and I think he's scheme-proof at the next level.
Yeah, two very interesting names there in Travis Jones and Devontae Wyatt. The Chiefs, of course, already feature one of the best defensive tackles in the game in Chris Jones. He had the second most pressures of any interior defensive lineman in the NFL last year, behind only Aaron Donald. We know what Jones can do. He's a game wrecker. But if you can plug a guy in like Travis Jones or Devontae Wyatt right next to Chris in this defense, it really just opens things up for this pass rush. So we'll see what the Chiefs elect to do in the first round. But of course, there's lots of talent later on in the draft as well. If the Chiefs want to go defensive tackle in round 2 or beyond, who are some names to know in the later rounds?
Yeah, and this defensive tackle class, I don't know, it's not maybe a strength of this overall draft, but there's some good players, especially once you get to day 3, guys that maybe you want to take a swing on, and you might have something long term. Iowa State's got a really intriguing defensive lineman, Ioma Uwazurike, a 4-year starter for the Cyclones, lined up and down the defensive line, 6'6", 316 pounds, started every game the last 3 seasons, and I think he got better with every game, the more snaps that he saw. You love the active hands, the long arms, quick feet. He can be disruptive from different alignments. He had the best vertical jump at the Combine, and I think that among defensive tackles, and I think that really matches kind of his lower body explosion that you see on tape. So even fronts, odd fronts, Uwazurike could be a nice rotational option later in the draft. And then Kalia Davis at a UCF, I think he's flying under the radar right now because he suffered a knee injury last season, so couldn't work out at the Combine. And right now he's got that discount sticker on his draft tag. But as long as the team doctors give you the thumbs up, Davis would be a nice add later in the draft. Former linebacker, gives you that burst up field, that first step quickness, low center of gravity. He can track the football so he can find cracks on the offensive line, or he can create them. He's got a little bit of pop to him. You want to see better consistency, but we're talking about on day 3. It's worth betting on the range and the twitch that he offers. He can come in and create some disruption as part of a rotation.
Yeah, really the name of the game in the later rounds is just identifying guys that have those raw athletic traits, those tools that you can't teach. They may have flaws coming out of school, or maybe they weren't in a system that really took advantage of their strengths in college, but get them in your building, get your coaches working with them, and see what you have. The Chiefs have done that time and time again with players in the later rounds. And Tershawn Wharton, like I mentioned, wasn't even drafted. You get him out of Missouri S&T. You like the tools, you like the athletic traits that he has, and he turns into a rotational contributor on this squad. So we'll see what the Chiefs elect to do over the course of draft weekend. But if they choose to go defensive tackle, lots of talent in this year's class in the first round and beyond. He's Dane Brugler. Check out his work at theathletic.com. His draft guide, I think, is one of the very best out there. It might be the best. So if you're interested in this year's class, go check out his work for The Athletic. Dane, awesome stuff, man. Really appreciate your time.
Anytime. Thank you.